Hi guys, it's Mark from anypond.com, your trusted resource in the UK for ponds and water features, and today I'm building another wildlife pond and I thought I'd just take this opportunity to shoot you a quick video about pond plants. The reason why I'm shooting this video about pond plants is basically because today we've been rained most of the time, so it's slowing the process down, so we can't get a how to build a pond video out until next week. But I thought I'd shoot this video just to explain what's going on with the plants. So what we've got here is we've got purple loosestrife or Lythrum salicara, and you can see that this one is in a 1 litre pot and this one is a few more years old, and as you can see it's grown up with height and also the stems are a lot redder. It's not a different variety, it's just more established. So it's basically, this one's only probably a year or 2 years, 18 months, and this one's probably about 3 years old. And as you can see, it's a lot bigger. So when you're putting pond plants into a pond, you need to make sure that you know the actual mature height of the water plant, because otherwise you might be blocking a view. So you might be trying to look at a waterfall behind the plant and you can't see it. So what you need to do is just think about the height of these pond plants that you're putting in. Also, another plant what we've got behind is we've got Iris pseudochorus. Again, this is a great plant for wildlife, for fish ponds. It's got microorganisms that grow on the roots. A lot of these plants can do well in gravel. They can do well as a sort of like a bare root. So as you can see, these particular plants have gone out into the water, so they're actually competing with the algae for nutrients, which is a fantastic thing. And like I was saying, they've got microorganisms that grow on the pseudochorus roots. Not a lot of people know that. So what I like to do is I like to put them into planting pockets. So with the bigger plants, you can afford to put them in just gravel alone, because then they're removing the nutrients. If you're putting them in a wildlife pond, nutrients is a real key thing, especially if you're trying to keep native oxygenators or submerged plants, because they don't like highly rich water. So if you're trying to put submerged plants in a fish pond, a lot of the time they don't like it. One, because either the fish are eating them or it's too nutrient rich. So these plants can go in gravel no problem, because you want to slow the growth down, and it's basically a case of they will compete with the algae for food. Like a water lily, it takes its nutrients from the soil, not from the water. So if you've got water lilies, you want to be feeding the water lilies. You don't want to be putting them in gravel. Yes, they'll survive in gravel. You know, I've had it people wrap sort of like a weight round them and then throw them into a pond. If you've got substrate on the bottom like silt, then you're perfectly fine. You know, tying a brick onto it and throwing it into a silt pond in an estate lake is absolutely fantastic. But if you've got a fish pond or a wildlife pond that you're just establishing, it's sterile. So if you put a water lily into a sterile pool, it's not going to like it, because it can't adapt and take nutrients from the water itself. So even if you have a rhizome and you float it around, they don't do very well. They just use up energy stored in the rhizome. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go over to the other side of the pond and we're going to look at some other substrates that plants will grow in. Come over here now. That's better, you can see me over here now. So what we're going to look at is we're going to look at different substrates for different water plants, because like I said earlier on in the video, not all plants want the same substrate. Some plants want, you know, like a real fine sand, and as long as they're fish safe, all of these substrates, as long as they come from a fish safe place, you know, I don't necessarily use just any building sand or anything like that, because you don't know what's in it. It needs to be play pit sand or sand for aquariums. So you might be able to see that these bags here come from the aquarium store, and basically everything's fish safe, obviously, because they come from the aquarium. So what we've got is we've got a coarse Samoan gravel, which is basically like a very small grit, and some of the fibrous roots, they like that very fine grit. We've also got the sand and play pit sand, you know, for play pits. They're chemical free, so you can use play pit sand no problem. Also, we've got aquatic soil, and what we've got here is we've got a lovely soil that is basically loam based, so it's a heavy soil. They don't want to be absolutely packed full of nutrients. It doesn't want to be compost, it doesn't want to be garden soil. The reason being is because the too many nutrients will go into the water. You want chelated iron that basically stays inside the substrate to feed the plant roots. if you're feeding the water, then you might as well pot the water plants in gravel. Like I said before, some plants will actually like being, or not like it, but they don't mind it because they can adapt the roots to take nutrients from the water. Like we've got over the back there, we've got some Calathea or Chameleon. Let me wait for this plane to go by. That's crazy, filming right next to an airport. So this is Chameleon or Calathea cordata. It's a lovely plant, and as you can see, it's got lovely foliage, but be careful with this one because it can go into the borders and then be a real nightmare in a herbaceous border. It actually is propagated by its roots. It's got some lovely thick roots, as you can see there. So even the smallest piece of root, so you can do root cuttings with this one. The smallest piece of root like that will actually produce another Calathea. So it's just like couch grass. You can't leave any bit in, otherwise it will basically be a nightmare. So potting that Calathea in gravel to slow it down is a real good thing, and then you can manage it a lot easier as well. So what you don't want to do is you don't want to put that too near an edge, but the pond liner will stop that from running into the garden. So just got to be mindful on that. It doesn't set seeds, it's just root propagation for the Calathea. We've also got Calatheas. We've seen this on the videos before. We do the Chelsea chop, so basically cut it back to about 1 inch above around the Chelsea flower show. We've also got Sagittaria. This one here is called duck potato. It's got a little rhizome, or like a potato in here, like a bulb, and it's fantastic. It's a lovely different shaped leaf, fantastic from an ornamental point of view, and again it likes a loamy substrate. It doesn't like to be in coarse gravel. So there's a few plants that we're going to use on this. Put it in the comment section below if you like this type of thing. I'm not 100% sure what you're looking for. If you're looking for more pond plant videos, put it in the comment section below, and I'll see you next week.